Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. Today we are doing a sales training. And I have to be honest with you. It takes me like no time to actually write the presentation. And once I got flowing, yeah, it didn't take me any time to write this presentation, but there were a few days where it didn't feel aligned to be doing this presentation. And I actually really sat with myself to say, is this the presentation I want to be doing next week? Should I push the date? And I just kept sitting with it. I kept surrendering. If you just did our surrender course, we talked all about that and really just surrendering into it. But the reason it didn't feel aligned was because I was coming at the presentation of like, let me give you all of the sales tips I know and all of the sales strategy I know. And I will be giving you all of that, but sales is so much more than just strategy. Sales is about how you show up, who you are being, you being completely aligned with yourself so that you can engage in aligned sales. And in today's world, I talk about this all the time that people are always talking about the hustle and the grind. And there's all of these sales tactics now that can kind of be manipulative and they can really come at from a fear-based perspective and or neuro-linguistic programming within the brain. And while I think that a lot of those things are useful to help people get out of their own way, I really believe that sales needs to be aligned to you. It needs to be authentic to you. And while you can learn tricks, and I don't even like calling them tricks, but tools that you can use to make the sale easier, which I will talk about today, it's so much more than that, because I was able to see so many more sales in my business when I started aligning with my business with what I believed, because people buy from you because they trust you, because they like you, or they want what you have. And you have to guide the way, whether you're selling a service or a product whether you are just a salesperson or an owner, you still have to guide the way. You have to show them what your product or service can do for them by being that, by embodying it, by representing it. So we are going to talk about business and sales energetics as well as sales strategy. And I just don't want to differentiate them. They are one. And you can't have one without the other because I had a very sweet client who came to me with all of the sales training, and she thought she knew, like, oh, these are all my scripts, this is what I'm doing. And we did a VIP day where we went through all of her sales strategies, and quite honestly, she just wasn't connecting. She wasn't embodying. She wasn't listening. She wasn't connecting with the actual client. And she also wasn't embodying and being what the other people wanted. She wasn't a living, breathing example of what she was selling. And when we started to make those tweaks, she made over 7K in less than a week. And she had never made any sales beforehand. And there was so much resistance to sales. So we're going to go into all of that. But just know, if you want to go into a sales audit or a VIP sales day, let me know, because sales can be little tweaks that make a huge difference. And I love doing sales role plays. So let me know if you want to go deeper into the sales conversation. I also have another workshop that I'm doing in 2 weeks that goes simultaneously with this workshop tonight. So tonight we're talking all about aligned sales. And in 2 weeks, I'm breaking down the 6-figure or multiple 6-figure business online structure. So I'm going to go through all the 6 fundamentals that you need to implement and know within your business in order to generate multiple 6 figures online. I've done it. I've been taught it. I've showed other people, they've executed it. And I'm going to give you all of that sales strategy in 2 weeks. So make sure to sign up for that as well. And here we go. So I want you to put in the chat box, if you're with me live, why you're here tonight and what you feel about sales. And if you're just watching the recording, and it's not just, if you're watching the recording, ask yourself, how do I feel about sales? Do I like sales? Am I good at sales? What do I think sales is? Because that is going to be at the root of how you show up to sell. And if there's anything off about how you feel about sales, what you think about sales, your experience about sales, it's going to shift how you show up and your conversions and the amount of selling that you are able to do. So let's dive right in. So I want you to be able to answer all of these questions. Take a picture of this, write it in your journal. Do you like sales? What do you think about sales? Number 2 is, why are you here? This is obviously an aligned sales workshop. I was very careful within my promoting of this workshop not to make it too rah-rah. And because I want you to be thinking in your head, why are you here? Why do you want to increase sales? Do you want to increase sales because you need more money? Because you want to get your product out there? Because you want to help other people? Your intention and your reason for getting more sales is very important for you to be honest about, because what I want to do on all of my workshops, and if you've been to my workshops before, I'm all about asking you questions so that we can uncover blind spots and thought processes that are currently holding you back from achieving the success and the abundance that you want to achieve. And oftentimes when I ask these questions, your answers are going to reveal to you maybe some mindset blocks that are in the way for you to actually be achieving sales. So today, why you're here is going to show you what might be behind your intention and your thoughts. If you're here because you think that getting that sales strategy is going to get you to 7 figures, I want to continue to challenge you on that. Why do you want the 7 figures? What do you think that will give you? And the gap here, there's a gap between your intention and how you're showing up and what you're embodying. Because if when you're selling, your intention is, I need to hit 7 figures, I need to hit 8 figures, whatever that goal is for you, if there is a disconnect, the client will feel it. Why do you want 7 figures? Who the heck cares about 7 figures? The root and the core to aligned sales is seeing the consumer, the client, as a real human that needs your product, that you can help and support and guide along the way. And if they don't want your product, then that is okay. And we're going to talk about all of that because this, again, goes into the sales energetics when you're selling your product. And I want to add a little asterisk here for you to give yourself permission to be gentle. It's okay in the beginning if you do have an intention to meet maybe some sales targets. But I'm challenging you to continue to shift that so that you can feel aligned, become the best version of you, and help the most amount of people and make the most amount of impact, because it makes a difference. So the other questions I want you to ask yourself is obviously, why do you want to increase your sales? For who? For what? And what do you want to be better at sales? Or why do you want to be better at sales? Right? So just getting really clear on that and how you're going to show up. So let's go into the agenda. Today, we're going to talk about sales energetics and mindset, which I've mentioned many times already. We're going to be talking about setting and achieving your daily sales goals, improving your messaging for maximum impact and lead generation. We'll talk about modifying your social media and your DM strategy for specifically online sales. And then we're also going to talk about how to sell through one-on-one webinars and launching. And then at the end, I'll also give you a free gift. So we have lots to talk about and get into this hour. As always, I am here for you. Send me an email, send me an Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Please stay connected. And if you have questions as we're going throughout, I'm going to give you as much as I can in this hour. But know that if you want to go into a sales audit or you need more support, I'm here for you, and just send me a message and we can make it happen. So let's talk about sales energetics. I already talked about this question, but we're bringing it in from the other slide. And if you're here with me live, put it in the chat box. How do you really feel about sales? I personally love sales. That's why I'm doing this sales workshop. I believe sales is a way to connect with others. It's a method of communication. It's a way to show up and make an impact and support other people with the tools and tricks that I've learned so that I can help other people to achieve things faster and be successful. I want other people to be successful, and I want to help guide them along the way. I want to make other people better. And that's not better. I want to make other people's lives better. And that's why I love sales, because that's what sales means to me. And so often we have negative sales experiences. People are on, think about when you're on a workshop or in a workshop or a virtual seminar. Do you like being sold to? When someone is really hard pitching you, do you like being sold to? I'm getting a lot of no's that are here live. But we've all been in the room when it feels super sleazy being sold to. And then we've also been in a room where someone is selling to us and we respect it. We respect the hustle. We're thinking, yeah, maybe this product is for me, or maybe this product isn't for me, but you're doing an awesome job selling. There are many different ways to sell. Oftentimes we know we're being sold to, and that's okay, but you want to always be focusing on how am I making the other person feel? And also noting how you feel when you're being sold to might also be another clue for a mindset block or blind spot that might be there because you don't like being sold to. So then you're hesitant to sell to others. And really just, I want to get to the bottom. And this is why it's so tough when we're on these workshops, because I'm just talking to myself and hoping that you're listening on the other side. But you really have to get to the core of what sales means to you. Sales is not a dirty word, and really improving your relationship with selling is going to make the biggest difference. I don't care what strategies you implement. You want to increase sales, change how you feel about sales and what meaning you give sales. And we're going to talk about that too as well. So often sales is dependent on results. So you're successful at sales if you sell X amount of dollars or X amount of products. And I want to challenge that today, because sales is so much more than just your results. And when we're looking too hard at the results, we stop. And I'm going to get to it on the next slide, so I don't want to give it away. And so I'm going to go deeper into this statement on the next slide, because it is so important for you not to change the way you think about yourself or how successful you are based on your sales, because your sales are right there. You just have to keep going. And so often when we're not selling, we get down on ourselves, we compare ourselves, and that hurts us more than anything else moving forward. Sure, we can, you're here to learn strategies and you're going to get those. And I've learned sales strategies and they've worked too. But at the end of the day, you learn the strategies and then you have to go, right? You can tweak some things as you go along, but over analysis may also be your worst enemy. I also want to really target this fear, because fear, you often feel a lot of fear in a sales transaction coming from both parties. The person making the sale is super awkward, hates talking about money, doesn't want to talk about the sale. Also is the reason they want to make the sale is rooted in fear, because they feel like I have to make this sale or else I'm not successful. I have to make this sale or I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. I have to make this sale. Have to is rooted in lack and fear, and I'm not good enough if I don't do this. So you're feeling all the fear from the salesperson. And then you're also feeling the fear of the person being sold to. And I've been on the other side of a sales transaction being sold to, where that person has made me feel completely unworthy and a failure if I do not buy their product. And this is where some of those sales tactics come in, fear sales tactics, where the person will make you believe that you need that product. And if you don't buy that product, you will not be successful. You will not solve this magical solution. And their program is the answer to your problem. And while I do believe that every single product that we purchase because we think it will solve something within us, I'm so done with buying things because people make me feel bad about myself. And so I, when in the sales process and as the salesperson, never want someone to feel like they are not enough and they will not be successful without me. I am here to guide them the entire way. And you have to make a decision as a salesperson how you want to make other people feel. Because I've bought things and out of fear and felt really shitty about it. And I don't want that. I want people now to feel so empowered. I want people to feel like I am the fit to help them wherever they are. And if we're not a fit, that's okay. And it's that lack of attachment. I'm going to say, I don't think lack is the right word, but my detachment to the outcome and just letting go of any expectations about the sale that also allows you to build a deeper connection with the person on the other side. Right? We've all been here. I have a bunch of people in the chat box right now saying yes, yes. Okay, yeah, great. So let's keep going. Here are some sales truths that you really need to embody and understand as we move forward today. And so I want you to ask yourself on a weekly basis, how much of your time is spent selling? One of my mentors taught me this. First statement here, 80% of your time should be spent on sales. When I first started, I was not doing 80% of my time on sales. I was busy being busy. And a lot of people, I see this all the time. They're busy making courses. They're busy in R&D. They're busy doing things that never make them money. And they're just in that busy mode. So really look at what percentage of your time right now are you spending on sales, selling, being able to make a sale. The sales, and we'll talk about this when I talk about a call to action of what that sale time should be, but it's giving your audience, your clients a call to action in order to allow them to buy something or register for something, but do something, a very specific call to action. 80% of your time should be on sales. This is the statement that I wanted to come back to. So often when your sales are tied to results and you stop and then you let your results tell you that you're shit and that you aren't enough and that you're not good enough, I need you to remember this statement. You are X number, and I don't know what that number is for you, but you are X number of no's away from success. If I told you that you were 5 no's away, 10 no's away, 20 no's away, 50 no's away, 100 no's away, even if it was 100 no's away from success, you would go. And you would, that first no, that second no, and you're like, that's okay. I just need to get to 100. If I can get to 100 no's, I am guaranteed success. You'd just keep going. You wouldn't care because you're that much closer. You'd want the no's to come faster and faster and faster in order to get to success. So remember this every time you get a no, is you are X amount of no's away from success. Do not let those no's tear you down and to change the way you feel about yourself because of how somebody else responded to your sale. And then this is the third one, which is also really important and completely connected to sales energetics. If you knew success was coming, you wouldn't worry about what was happening right now. So if you knew right now, because so often when you are tied to sales, you're thinking, I need the money, I need the sale. And that just lowers your vibration and gets you all caught in the resistance of lack and failure and all of that stuff. And that's part of the journey, 100%. But if you knew that in 6 months or even next week, you'd make $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, how would that shift your energy right now? So I want you to really sit in the energetics and the vibration of it's already here. It's gonna happen. I'm just not sure when. But if you know the 100K is just around the corner, if you knew that that sale was going to close in 2 weeks, how would you show up differently today? And if the answer is I wouldn't, fabulous. And if you feel, well, no, I'd show up slightly different, we have to go back to our sales energetics of how you're showing up, who you are being every day, and what you're embodying, because the person on the other side is going to feel that. Remember, the person buys from you because they trust you, they like you, or they want to be you. So be that inspiration for them to continue to look up to you as a solution of whatever solution that you're offering, because all sales is you providing a solution to a problem. Now, sales 101, I like to make things very simple for you because I don't think things need to be complicated. All that we need to do in sales is show up. That's why embodiment is so important. And I actually have a workshop on embodiment in a couple weeks, so make sure to come to that as well. But all you need to do is start showing up. You need to find your light. You need to show up and shine that light so bright, just like the sun, so that people can find you. But if you're not showing up, you're not selling, you're not out there, people don't know who you are, what you sell, how they can buy from you. So start asking yourself these questions. Do people know who you are, what you stand for? Do people know where to find you? Do people know how you can help them? And do people know how they can buy from you? These questions, take a picture of those. That's going to connect to your messaging. You need to start getting very clear on who you are, what you stand for, how you help other people, how people can find you, and how they can buy from you, and what they can buy from you. If that's not clear, you're not going to make sales, especially in the online space, because it gets really noisy. And that's why you need to show up and be really clear with your message. And this is always something that I continue to come back to. Give yourself some grace here as well, and know that your business, your online sales, your company, whatever you're selling, is always evolving, because you are always evolving. My message continues to evolve. So I'm always coming back to these questions on a monthly basis. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want to be known for? And this also connects so much to that embodiment piece that we also spoke about in the surrender mini course that we just finished. Really coming back to, and we talk about this in the messaging, but how do you want to show up every day? How do you want to feel every day? How do you want other people to feel every day? You have to embody that in everything that you do. It is the biggest part of sales that people do not talk about. Because I'm going to repeat myself a million times today, people need to trust you, like you, and they probably want to have the same transformation that you gave yourself. So guide people through that transformation. Be very clear on who you are and what you stand for, but you have to stand for it. You can't just say I stand for it and then not be walking the talk. Show up. Be that light, be what you stand for, and share that with the world. Your sales will quadruple as soon as you start doing that. Yeah, I got some yeses in the chats. Yes. So let's chat daily goal. 80%, we're going to keep coming back to this. 80% of your time should be spent on sales. So when you look at your daily to-do list and your weekly to-do list, 80% of your time should be on sales. I also want you to make it a goal to sell every single day. Online, email, I don't care. You have to sell every single day. What is a sale? Sales can vary. It doesn't have to be that you're selling the exact same thing every day, but maybe you're selling a package. Maybe you're selling a bundle. Maybe you're selling for a holiday, Easter, Mother's Day, something coming up. Maybe you're selling for someone to purchase something, for someone to get on your mailing list, for someone to get a download that you created, for someone to attend your workshop or webinar. There are so many different call to action that you can give people, but give people a call to action every single day. Okay, are you going to get in on this challenge? Hands up. Yes, I'm going to sell every day. Sell every single day. Purchase, workshop, all of that. 1 second. I have, okay. question coming in. There you go. So sell every single day. And I'm going to open it up also for Q&A at the end. Now, I get so many people telling me, my sales aren't working. This isn't working. I even had a client, she's so sweet. Last week, she goes, my one-on-one isn't, she's a coach, she sells coaching, but this is across the board. I don't care what you sell. She's like, my one-on-one's not selling, or my package isn't selling. My product isn't selling. So often we just stop there. And as her coach and guiding her through, I'm like, no, I'm not taking that as a statement, because there's always gaps. It's not that the one-on-one isn't selling. Is it that you don't have enough leads, that you don't have a large enough community, that your leads that are coming in aren't great? There's always a why. So I need you to get really clear. Stop making these blanket statements as I'm not making enough sales, I'm not selling enough. Why? What is it? What's not selling? Is it that your messaging isn't clear? People don't know what they're buying. You're not selling. You don't have anyone to sell to. You know how many times I've seen people build amazing online programs and they've sold them to nobody because they don't have an audience. They don't have an email list. They don't have a wait list. And then they wonder why they didn't make any sales. And then they think their program was awful. The program wasn't bad. You just didn't have anybody selling. You didn't sell to anybody. We need to find the gap. And if you're not sure of what your gap is, let me know. We can hop on a free sales audit. We need to figure out what's not converting. Is it that the actual sale isn't converting, that they don't know what the product is, right? So much time can be spent just here in your business, really auditing the why and the reason. Where are you leaving money on the table? And then we need to figure this out. And maybe you know right now just by looking at it. And if you don't, that's okay too. Sometimes you need people from outside of your business looking in to know where those gaps are and where you're leaving money on the table. So we talked about leads. And I gave you the example of a client who initially wanted to sell a program and said nobody bought it, but she didn't have an audience. So we need to really make sure, and this is what ties really well to next in 2 weeks, our next workshop on the 6 steps to 6 figures, because it's so important that you have people to sell to. If you have an amazing product, I don't care what you're selling. And if you don't have an audience, you don't have leads, you're not going to make sales. So we have to be really clear on your sales strategy. New leads. Are you continuously bringing new people into your audience, into your community, right? How are you growing your audience? How are you growing your community? Then we have to look at, okay, how are you nurturing and staying connected and engaging with your current community? And then I don't care about social media following, all of that sort of stuff if you do not have their emails. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, you will never own those. So if you want to really master sales, you have to start building your email list. I have an entire workshop on this, and we'll be talking about this on our next workshop as well. How do you convert your audience into actual email so you can sell via email? And here I have the 6 steps to 6 figures. So you need to get really clear. Do you have people to sell to? If you don't, we have to dive deeper into how are we going to build your community, build your audience, and how are we going to sell to them through social media, emails, newsletters, bonuses. We can talk about tons of different ways to sell to them, but we need an audience in order to sell to them. And we'll talk a little bit more about social media and some of those other strategies today. So when we look at what you're saying to your audience, we have to get really clear on the messaging. We've already mentioned messaging a couple of times today when I wanted you to get really clear on who you are, what you stand for, and what you're selling. Here are some other things to consider when you are talking to your audience. They have to get really clear on who you are, where they can buy, and what you're selling, But we also need to know, who are you speaking to? Spend some time thinking about your audience, and don't just do it once, do it every month. Spend some time thinking about, who am I actually talking to? What are their challenges? What are their problems? What is their vision for their life? And how can I help them with that? What product or service that I offer, how does that help them with a problem that they're having in their life? What education needs to happen in order for me to bridge that communication between my end consumer and what I have to offer? We need to create that story, that sales cycle, to make it really clear to our audience, so that when they look at you, they think, well, yeah, she gets me, he gets me. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly what I need. So you can bridge that gap for them. They don't always know why they need you, why they need that product. That's why you have to make it really clear for them what you can help them with and why it's important to them. So get really clear on that. Again, I do this probably monthly. Another thing that I do is I will ask myself, and this is what connects back to the messaging part of who I am and what I stand for, but I'll say, okay, if I had an hour speech right now in front of 1,000 of my ideal target demographic, what would I talk about? Write down what you would talk about. That becomes your message. That becomes your theme. Same thing if you got to write a letter to your ideal client, and oftentimes your ideal client is you in the past. But if I had the opportunity to write a letter to my ideal client, what would I say in that letter? Get really clear on what the themes are, what your message is, and how you can connect to your audience. What do you want to be known for? And then here I bring it in again, this embodiment piece. Messaging is your embodiment. How do you want to feel? How do you want other people to feel? And then how are you going to stay true to your word, walk the walk, talk the talk, to talk the walk the talk, and how are you going to be that every day? Right? So that's why, and it's really beautiful. Know that when we're doing this presentation, things continue to change. But if you look at social media and the online world, it's really beautiful because people are becoming more and more and more authentic on there, just showing you who they are. And that's where you get to embody everything that you sell. Because if you're selling a natural remedy to something, but then are posting food that you eat at McDonald's and Wendy's and processed foods all the time, there's a disconnect that people see, that people feel. So start looking at yourself and your life and asking yourself, where am I disconnected from my personal message, from my personal brand? Because everybody's a brand nowadays. Every business is a brand. You are also your business. And again, the waters get a little murky, right? It blends a little bit, but that's why you get the opportunity to connect deeper with yourself and deeper with others than you ever have before. So get really clear on where those disconnects are in your life and where you're not authentically living your brand and living your message, because people will see that. And that might also be a blind spot of why you're not showing up and why you're not being the light that you need to be in the world. So let's talk about social media specifically in order to increase engagement, increase impact, increase sales. We want to follow these 4 steps when you're creating social media posts. Posts are okay right now, but at the time of this workshop, I have to tell you that video is so important. You have to start showing up. You have to start showing your face. I don't buy from anyone if I don't see their video, because I want to know their energy. I want to know how they show up in the world and what they're like. Like, I want to vibe with them, and people want to vibe with you. So start showing up more on video, get over your fears, start practicing, and then follow these 4 steps. Number 1, all of your videos, and you can still, just so you know, take the same 4 steps in this structure when you're writing content in an email, if you do a photo or a an infographic on your social, you can still follow these 4 steps. So the first thing that you're going to say is a hook. What is a hook? You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. Here are 4 steps to reduce your anxiety. Think about it as a subject line in your email. What is that hook? Oftentimes people are missing the hook. If you want ideas to look at what hooks are popular, go on TikTok, look at what hooks people are making. I just had a content day today, so some of the hooks that I used are, here's something I wish I knew earlier, or at this point in my life, this is how I feel, this is how I believe, or this is what I believe. Or if here are 2 steps I use in every time I find myself judging somebody else. You want to just be super clear in that hook to hook them in, so that if somebody wants to know the answer to that, they keep listening. You want in each of these 4 steps for someone to say, yep, I want to keep listening. Yep, she's talking to me. Yep, that's me. Keep listening. So then the second thing that you're going to mention is who it's for and why it's important. So this is for people that are waking up with anxiety every morning, or this is for the person with super dry lips. This, why is it important? Depending on your product, that might change, and depending on the content that you're putting out, that might change. But this is important because it's going to give you more inner peace. It's going to allow you to show up every day. It's going to allow you to be confident in your skin. It's going to what's it going to give them if they implement and take these tips? Again, once they hear that, they're going to think, yes, this is for me, or yes, I want that. Yes, I have that challenge and I want to fix it. I'm going to keep listening. And then you give the tip. Right now on social media, your videos do better when they are shorter, about 7 seconds and under, 15 seconds most, but 7 to 8 second videos are performing the best right now. But again, that is always changing, and you can still stick to these 4 steps. Just you're going to give, your tip is probably going to be shorter to make a shorter video. And then you want to give a call to action. Depending on the form of video and or the platform, your call to action can be in the video and or in the caption, but you always want to give a call to action. Follow me here, or join my workshop, join my webinar, or comment below, or is this you? This is how to continue to sell and build engagement and nurture your current audience. So what the call to action is going to do, it's going to help you stay authentic to 80% of your time selling. And then it's also going to help you nurture your current community. And then it's also going to help you build a greater community of your ideal target demographic. So always follow these 4 steps. If we want to start selling in DMs, the best way to sell in your DMs is to give a call to action so that people slide into your DMs. So right now, and I'm sure you'll see this a lot because it's becoming more popular, is people will give a keyword like DM me anxiety if you want this, DM me sales if you want a free sales audit, DM me whatever, DM me a word, so that other people are popping in your DMs. DM me waitlist if you want to be the first on the waitlist and you want a discount to this new product I'm offering, right? You want to get them to go into your DMs because they're qualifying themselves for your product or service, and then you know how to continue to engage in a conversation. Once you get people in your DMs and you start a conversation, you really need to know a couple of questions only. Why did they DM you? Why are they interested? What are their current challenges or goals? And are they getting help with it, or do they want help with it? Because then you become the solution, right? So I wrote those 3 questions at the bottom here on this slide. You can see, so why did they DM you? What are their challenges and goals? Do they want help with it? Are they getting help? Do they want a solution? And you'll notice that the themes, we're going to dive deeper into this theme when we go into a one-on-one call. I'm going to give you all the questions I ask on a one-on-one call to help build connection and find out if this lead is right for you, so you can get the sale and you can help that person with whatever solution and product you have. Another really effective way to start DMs and to get people into your DMs is using a blunt post. The next slide, I have an example of what a blunt post is. One of my mentors taught me this as well, and he uses it all the time. You'll see it. I use it. Sometimes you can delete them so that they don't, you doesn't look like you have a million blunt posts, but this is actually when you call out, I am looking for 2 women who want to improve their sales and or 10x their sales in the next 90 days. I will help them to modify their sales strategy, become more confident, and get more leads and whatever. I'm just doing this off the cuff, but you'll be able to see I'm being really specific on who I'm looking for and what I can help them with. DM me if this is for you, or DM me to see if you qualify. This is how we get people into your DMs to start the engagement conversation and to increase the sales. Depending on the price point of your product or service, your DM strategy may differ. And that's where we also want to be really clear on, what does your sales funnel look like within your organization? What are you selling? And it goes from low ticket to high ticket. But you notice at the top, the triangle is much smaller. So we need to be really clear on what your sales structure looks like, your revenue pyramid, what does that look like? And where are we sending people? What is that sales funnel that we're sending people through to increase your sales in your business? Another thing to note here is, don't be scared to send voice notes or video within DMs. Those work really well to increase sales. And also feel free to message people to build engagement. Because of the algorithms right now, when you're in your DMs engaging with people, the apps think you're more engaged and that you're talking to these people and that they know you and that you're friends. So you do want to reach out to people and just say, hey, thanks for the follow, or hey, I really want to connect more with my followers. What kind of content do you want to see? How can I help you? Start making some templates that you really feel comfortable with that will start engaging people in your existing community, right? If we go back to the lead generation slide, we have, how are you getting new leads, but how are you also nurturing your current leads in order to increase sales? Does that make sense? Yeah, but you can see there's so much to the sales conversation. So this is an example of a blunt post that you might use. I'm looking for 2 entrepreneurs who want a step-by-step guide to quickly growing a multiple 6-figure online business. I'll personally guide you to transform your sales, your strategy, sales, and impact in the next 90 days. DM me power to see if you qualify. So I got them to DM me, so they're getting into my DMs. I'm telling them exactly how I'm going to help them in a specific amount of time, and I'm qualifying who I'm looking for and what they might want. They want multiple 6 figures online quickly. Make sense? Okay, so let's go into the phone call. How are we doing on time here? Because I want to make sure I leave some time for Q&A at the end. So here are the 10 steps I go through on a phone call with someone when I'm on a sales call specifically. And if you want to do a one-on-one sales training, let me know. We can dive into this deeper. When I went through the VIP day with my client, I think spent over an hour just on her sales call, because that was within her sales structure. So we want to know, how are you selling? Are you using one-on-one sales? Are you using social? Are you using DMs or webinars or emails? You want to get really clear on how you're selling to people and what that sales structure looks like, so that you know how to modify and improve, so we know where the gaps are, right? So if you're doing one-on-one sales, and I included this because regardless of what you're selling, you need to know the answers to these questions to increase sales. Number one, what do people want to get from the call? When they hop on a call with me, hey, what do you want to get from this call? Why are you here today? You want to know where their headspace is at. Then I'm going to outline the agenda. I'm going to say, great, that's exactly what we'll do on this call. These calls are super casual. My goal is really to find out a little bit more about you, to see what your current challenges are. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about me and what my product or offer is. And if that's a fit, great. And if not, that's okay too. So you'll notice when I outline the agenda, and I could do an entire training just on this phone call, but I'm going to do it as quick as possible. When I talk about the agenda, I am telling them and giving them the heads up that I'm going to be telling them about my product. So they are ready for the sale at the end. It's not going to come by a surprise. Number 3, I want to know, where are they now? What are their challenges? I want a whole picture of where they are now and why they think they need support. Then we're going to move on to the vision. I want to know, what is their goal? What do they see for themselves? Where do they want to go? And you'll notice these are the same questions we asked in the DMs. It's very important in order to make a sale to know where they are now, where they want to go, and are you the bridge to get them there? You can do this on social media, email, everything. Where are they now? Where do they want to go? And can you get them there? How are you going to get them there? That's all that we're doing on a sales call and when we're talking about sales. So we're going to paint the vision of where they want to go. Now, excuse me, most people stop here and then they try to sell. The next questions are very important to engage your lead, but also start answering objections and answering questions before they come up. So you'll notice in the next question, how long have you wanted that goal? What have you tried so far? Why haven't you gotten there yet? What these questions are doing are really qualifying the person to know, are they ready for change? What have they done so far? Have they tried to DIY it themselves? How has that gone for them? It's the whole theory of, how's that working for you? What have you done and how is that working for you? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So we need to get people out of their own way in order for them to understand you can't keep doing what you've been doing if you don't like the results. If you like the results, awesome. If you like the results and you need a boost, awesome. But here's where you get to see who they are and their commitment level to change, and if now is the time. So that's why the next question, we're going to even ask them, why now? Why do you want change now? Why is it important? And what is inaction costing you? If you don't do this, what is this going to cost you? If you stay exactly where you are today, is that a problem? What is that costing you? Some people would say, actually, I do want to stay exactly where I am today. And it doesn't matter what people's answers are to these questions, but this is how to improve the sale and to really build that connection to see if this is a good lead. Then we move into a summary to really summarize what you heard. This is what I heard you tell me. These are your challenges. This is where you want to go. This is why you want to go there. And this is why you want to go there now and why now's the time. Here's the solution that I have. You're going to show them the bridge. And then you want to ask them, is this a fit? And move into the close. Now, I know that not everybody here on this specific workshop today does one-on-one sales. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. But if you want to dive deeper into the one-on-one sales, let me know. I still wanted to cover this in today's workshop because you can see the thought process that we're bringing people through. I almost dropped my water bottle. You want to see the thought process that we're bringing people through as we go through a sale. So if you're selling on a webinar, there's many different types of webinars. The webinar that you're on right now is a specific training. This is very different than just a sales webinar. When I do a sales webinar, I don't give as much information in the way that I'm giving it to you today. A training webinar, you're usually given all of the strategies, tips, and you go. People can DIY from a training. If it's specifically a sales webinar, we need to think of it in a slightly different way. And if you've heard of Russell Brunson, who started ClickFunnels. He has amazing resources out there called The Perfect Webinar. You can find it on YouTube. He has a book. There's a ton of information. You can buy his entire webinar script for, I think it's like $7. And so he goes into a lot of this sales structure from a webinar. And what he talks about is specifically, what is the one thing they need to believe to purchase your product? What does that mean? So often people, when let's say we are selling this mug says rise and shine. Okay. Oftentimes people are going to start selling this mug by talking about the features of, well, the mug is pink and white and it has a handle, and they start talking about the features. But what we haven't done, what do we have to decide, and what do we need to know in order to know if that person is going to buy this product? Well, we need to know if they like mugs. We need to know if they actually drink from mugs. We have to qualify that individual. And that's why in a webinar, and this is what Russell Brunson talks about, is what is the one thing they need to believe in order to purchase the product. Doesn't matter if it's pink and if it has a handle and all of that. We need to know if they use a mug, why they use a mug. We need to convince them to use the mug, not all the other stuff. Does that make sense? So we have to create a mindset shift. So for example, I have an online workshop or an online course that I bring them through all of the mindset shifts in every area of their life in order to see more abundance and success. It's called Launch Your Power. In my sales webinar for that program, I have to get them on the same page as me. They have to believe that in order to see more money, a better relationship, better results in their life, it starts with their thoughts and starts with their mind. If they don't believe that, they will never buy my product, and they don't care about my product because we're not on the same page. Do you understand? What's the one thing they actually have to believe to buy your product? And this takes a little bit of time to wrap your head around because we don't usually think about that, but we have to hit it at a much deeper level on a sales webinar so that at the end of the webinar, they're thinking, crap, I need this. Yes, this is why I need this. We're selling a pen. We're not talking about the function of the pen. We have to convince them why a pen is important. A pen is important to write notes, to build connection, to write down your thoughts, to make you less anxious. So that they're thinking, yeah, I need to start doing that. Yeah, I need to start writing more letters. I need to start writing in a journal. It's the actual behavior and pattern that we need to start helping them to understand in order to buy the product. Does that make sense? So here are some other questions you can ask yourself within a sales webinar. What do they think their problem is? Their problem, they think, is that they don't need a pen. They just need a new computer. But what is their real problem? They don't understand why they need it, right? I see this all the time with my own clients. They think their problem is you. That's maybe even why you're here. You think your problem is sales strategy, but your actual problem is embodiment and how you're showing up and your confidence when you're on a sales call. What do you think the problem is? I think the problem is I don't have enough money. I think the problem is I don't have enough clients. I think the problem is I'm not successful or my product is awful. That might not be the case. So we have to build that connection for them. How can you get them results? Why you? Why are you that bridge to help them see benefits in their life? And what are the added benefits for purchasing your product, for purchasing your offer? Why now? Why the change now? What is inaction costing them? If they stay exactly where they are today in their life, so what? Will they care? Okay. And I know I'm going into such big topics. Again, I can do an entire workshop just on webinars. So really understand your revenue pyramid, your sales cycle, and then start figuring out what are my ways of selling. And you can use all of these questions in any area, email, social media, webinars, all of that. But if you want to dive deeper in a specific format and or really understand your sales structure and your sales funnel, let me know. We'll hop on a call. So the other part, and we're almost done here, so stick with me. The other part that is really common right now is selling via a launch, right? You're launching a product or an offer. Here are my main tips for you to consider when you're launching things online. You have to know your numbers. You have to know, how many people do I need to get in front of in order to make X number of sales? How many sales do I want to get? With that in mind, how many people do I need on a webinar? Do I need on my email list? You need to know your numbers in order to hit your sales. Because if you want to sell 10, 20, 50, 100, we need to make sure we have the leads and the community in order to make those sales. And I've mentioned that again, but every time I launch a product, I always wish that I spent more time on community growth. Then we go into community, right? Which I kind of just mentioned already. Who are we selling to? Then we really need to make sure we plan our content. Here's where we connect our social media, our email, our how we show up in the world, our message, and really connect it to what we're selling, so that people start saying, I need this product. That's what sales is. So that we start talking and then people say, yeah, I need that. Yes, I need that. And then we want to really connect it with our email strategy. Waitlists and pre-sales are huge when we're selling online. Do you have a waitlist for your product? Do you pre-sell your product? We want to get as much money upfront as possible and people engaged as much as possible so that we know if what we're selling is something that people actually want. Webinars are amazing for online launches. And then we want to be really clear on when are we going to open and close the cart date. Again, this is a big overview. We can spend so much time just on launching. So if you want to dive deeper into launch strategy, let's hop on a call and we can really look at how that fits into your entire sales strategy. Okay, we're almost there. I know we've gone through a lot today, so thanks for sticking with us. So I've said this multiple times. You need to be very clear on what is my sales strategy and what is my sales energy and how I'm showing up. The strategy versus the sales are very different. So we need to practice the strategy, but then we need to really tune into ourselves. We need to know what's right for us. We need to put the client first, their results first, us helping that client first. We need to be authentic. We need to embody who we are and what we're selling. And then we need to let go of the outcome and release all of our expectations. Yes? Yes. So that's it for today. I know we went through everything so quick. So please, please, please take me up on this offer. What I'm doing today for you being on this workshop, I'm offering you a free sales assessment, a one-on-one sales assessment. If you want something bigger, I do have some VIP strategy sessions where we can just go into your strategy and we can talk about that on our call. But please get on the free assessment with me. We can go over anything you want. We can go over your revenue pyramid, your sales cycle. We can find out where your gaps are within your business and where you're leaving money on the table. And we can really figure out how we can increase your sales, whether it's embodiment or strategy, so that you can get to your sales goals. So this is my handle for all of my Instagram. My TikTok is I am Vanessa O. My email is iamvanessao@gmail.com. So send me an email or DM me the word sales, and then we will schedule our free one-on-one sales assessment so that we can dive into any area you want here. Or if you want to talk greater about DM strategy or launch strategy, we can do that specific to your business. I wanted to make sure that today's workshop was an overview of everything, because I know that there's so many different people on this workshop and you all have different businesses. So I wanted to make sure that I gave the overview and didn't get too specific because I wanted to make it appealing to as many people as possible within the online sales space. So make sure to DM me. If you want to just apply right away, go to launchyourpower.com/apply. And that's how you can apply for your free assessment with me as well. So launchyourpower.com/apply. Okay. So go there now, get your free assessment because I do only have a limited amount of spots available for the month. So send me that right now and then we can dive in. So what I'm going to do for everyone who's here live, don't leave yet because I know you're all here. I'm going to open it up to Q&A. And if you are watching this recording, send me an email if you have any questions. DM me sales for your free sales assessment and go to launchyourpower.com/apply. So thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to chat specifically about your business to get your business results.